Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. I'm Beatriz Mourad, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And April Collins.
Hi there.
Today we'll be discussing the 15th episode of Fruits Basket. I wouldn't say that. Warning, spoilers for everything that has aired up to this point. Some of us have read the manga, some of us have seen the early 2000s version of the anime. We won't be spoiling anything beyond episode 15. You can find out more about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes or on Spotify or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. All right, girls, tell me, what are your general thoughts about this episode? April.
This episode was interesting.
Is that good?
I'm hoping I'll have a better opinion after we talk about it, just because this episode felt very weird for me, because all of a sudden we're at this lake house and we're dealing with I guess a lot of different things, but it is confirmed that Yuki is connected to the hat.
Yes,
So,
he's Hat Boy.
He's
Right.
Hat Boy.
Well, is he though? We don't know, no. He just had
Why would he have a big thing about the hat and not Kyo, who heard the whole story about it before?
I don't know.
Because he's Hat Boy, that's why.
He is Hat Boy. So
Look, we didn't see his face, so I'm not convinced. Until we see the face of Hat Boy,
It is kind of
I do not believe anything.
over his face. Why would they do that? I don't know.
But that's what I mean. Okay, yeah.
I think he's Hat Boy, okay?
There you go.
But I was excited because we got to see Ami again, and he's one of my favorites. And the whole Hattori and Kana thing. Yeah, I think that's the part that I'm unsure about, I guess, because I felt like we had kind of wrapped that up, and then we're sort of revisiting it. So that part's that's the interesting part for me, I guess. So,
okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Fair. Michelle?
I'm frustrated, but I expected to be frustrated because I knew they weren't gonna be honest with her this soon. They were gonna find out about the hat thing, and Kyo wasn't gonna say anything about the almost smooch. I knew that going in, but still, oh, they got so close, and she even noticed how they were being so weird, but then they gotta make up without explaining exactly why, and that's fine, I guess. The Hattori stuff, I'm kind of surprised how much Kana's come back into the story while she's, not really in it anymore.
Right?
I like that. I like that that's consistent because it really hammers home, can you find happiness? And is it worth it to try? And who knows? And I don't know. I have a lot of weird feelings about Shigure too. And that's because I do want to believe that he's being a decent friend and he does believe that his friend can find happiness. But at the same time, it's Shigure, if you don't think you can find happiness, what's the difference? Because you think you're worse? I mean, it's one thing that we all think that, but none of you think that yourself. So what? I don't know. I like seeing the older characters. I think a show that's so ensemble as this show does best when it helps develop all the relationships we touch on fairly frequently. So for those three older folks to come back and have some time to sit down and reminisce about the past and that girl who dumped Shigure, and then
we'll talk about that.
Rip, oh my god, they better not get back together. She's way too good for him.
You are jumping to my final point of the pod.
I know, but I was just because I think Hattori is when he says oh yeah, that girl who said you were just a ripple on the water. I was just wow, that's an amazing burn. That's so good. But I mean, yeah, I like the Hattori stuff, but it was also kind of the unresolved feelings of the main three, it makes it, like, weird that these two things are being talked about at the same time. Because it's like, there's a failed relationship, but maybe you should keep trying. And here's three people who don't know how to feel about relationships, and it hasn't worked out exactly yet for them either. So it's not exactly super hopeful, but it's not, like, unhopeful. It's just kind of messy. So I think that's why, like, I agree with April. I'm feeling kind of like, like, it's not bad. It's just kind of like, where do we go from here? Maybe we just, like, resume normalness for a while until more intense drama happens. But, right. I mean, oh, man, that hat thing, we'll see. 20 more episodes will probably find out.
I mean, I agree that this is, I feel like up to this point, every episode had a purpose, even if it was just to let us breathe for a bit. Like, it was very tight. Except, and then we get to this episode, and I think it may be the weakest of them all, to be perfectly honest. But it's because even the main source of, like, emotional pain seems distant. You know, like, for instance, with the Hattori, it's like, but the kind of wedding's happening, like, away.
Yeah.
With, and, you know, there's no resolution with Yuki and Kyo and Toru, which I didn't expect there to be a resolution. I knew that they were going to draw certain things out, but, usually the show's very good at balancing, maybe, like, finding the emotional resonance, even if it's, like, a very slow episode. And that didn't happen with this episode. It still is very funny. Like, I'm saying this now, like, the Jason joke was, like, top notch. Like, the way they carried that through.
Bear.
Just very top notch. And I was like, for a second, I was like, is there a bear in the Zodiac? So we're about to meet a new Zodiac? Because I was like, maybe that's what's going to happen. I
that too. But I'm like, no, they're already Zodiacs. They would know if there was a bear, and they would not be afraid of the bear. Right? Be their cousin or something.
Cousin Jason's just running around the forest. Oh, dang
that
it.
Cousin Jason, you know how he gets.
Mm-hmm. You know, so I was very excited about a bear that we didn't see. And also, I really, really appreciated that Toru looked, like, really cute this episode, like, with the pigtails and everything. She looked, like, extra cute. Like, there are certain episodes where they really amp up her cuteness, and this is one of them. Just in terms of the way they draw her, she just seems even more, like, I don't know why they do it for certain episodes. I don't know why they did it for this one in particular. But
voice feelings of turmoil, and then she's extra cute. Now they're really not going to tell her anything.
Right. Oh, man. But yeah, so that was, like, those are general thoughts. But yeah, so basically the family plus Hattori went to this, like, Soma vacation home, a lake house, because Shigure wants his editor to suffer. Can we just take a moment of silence?
Oh my god! I love that Hattori is, like, nice enough that he forces Shigure to make the call so she knows that he has finished the assignment.
Yes.
And you hear her so desperate. It's, like, really funny, but also, like, the poor woman. Don't tease her. She's on the brink of devastation every day with Shigure already.
Yeah, isn't it teasing though? I think this is borderline torture at this point. Like,
I agree. Sweet thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, just kidding. Like, very quick. Torture is literally that where she's at. And, like, you know, you hear on the phone when she is with the other people being like, he's just teasing you. Please don't kill yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I know. The other people were just like, he's just teasing you. It's okay. I promise. Like,
so this poor woman. Oh, man. But yeah, also something worth noting. It's very small, but leading up to them going to the lake house, there's this moment where Shigure convinces Toru of, like, oh no, you should come with us. And it's a funny moment. It's like, you know, you have him kind of, like, using her kind of empatheticness against her. And it's, like, funny, but also it shows that he's manipulative and he's very willing to manipulate her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this, like, here's the thing. It's like, it's these little moments where he's like, okay, he's willing to lightheartedly do it, which makes me think, okay, if he's willing to do this lightheartedly, he's gonna be willing to do this in a more serious moment.
Yeah, well, he's also, like, forcing them to go to the lake. He has to ask them multiple times, and they're not in the mood, and he gets them to do it anyway. And it's totally to make them bond. That's something he's kind of forcing on them in that moment.
Right. Right. And it's, I don't know. Again, it's like, it's a funny moment, that one, the first one. So it's like, yeah, but it's in the context of everything else we know about Shigure, it's not a good look. Yeah. So there's something to think about. But yeah, so Kyo and Yuki, they're both hiding things from Toru. They're acting very weird. Toru, of course, blames herself because
I know.
That's a sweet thing.
Oh,
she's weird. But that misunderstanding is resolved very quickly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
And it doesn't take long for the two of them to go back to normal and start fighting again, which leads to Toru like laughing and like finally like the ice is broken and any weirdness and heaviness that they felt was gone. Do you ever see them making up? Like, do you imagine a world where Yuki and Kyo could get along?
Yeah.
Or is this gonna be kind of a thing where it's like they're just always going to bicker and they're never going to stop bickering, but like it'll be fine because with Toru they're willing to just put up with each other. And it's okay. It's like, isn't it okay to not have like a perfect relationship with someone but still be able to like, you know, like basically instead of going from them hating each other and then being friends, going from them not being able to stand each other to them being able to stand each other. It's like it's a smaller jump, but I feel like it's a little bit more realistic. What do you guys think?
I think it's.
Do you mean by the end of the series or like just...
I mean at the end of the series. I mean once we are done, like where are these two, like do you see them, like I can't imagine Yuki and Kyo being like having inside jokes and being like, haha,
No.
so fun. You know what I mean?
But that doesn't have to be the relationship. Like, look at the three older guys. Like, Hattori would never joke around with Shigure the way Shigure can with Aya-san. You know, like, they all have very different personalities, so their relationships are very different. So I wouldn't expect, even if they were on really good terms, Yuki to still not be, like, kind of polite and gentlemanly with somebody he was really close to. I think that's just kind of part of his personality.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What were you going to say, April?
I mean, just to like further like emphasize what you were saying, that I don't think that they'll ever, like, they're never gonna be like best friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think that they'll come to more of an understanding of each other. And, like, with that, then they'll be, like, I'm gonna use the word cordial. They'll be slightly cordial to each other. But, like, I could see them both kind of having a moment where, like, they, like, reminisce about something that Toru did. Or, like, they, like, joke about, like, she does something, like, super cute but, like, really funny. And, like, they both, like, have a laugh about that together. Like, I could see that happening. But, like, they're never gonna be, like, best friends. It's just not going to happen. And if it did, I think I might be, like, a little bit disappointed, because it would probably be for...
It'd be such a 180.
Yeah, like, it would have to be, like, given what we've seen of their relationship up until this point, like, anything, like, super, like, buddy-buddy is going to be very forced. So, and I just don't think the show's going to do that. Like, they have a really good track record at treating their characters well and like to themselves.
Yeah. Again, I do think they'll reach a point where they'll respect each other. You know, they will kind of acknowledge that the other person is like respectable. But
like,
I don't,
they're a human being that is allowed to exist on this earth, and it's not causing them immediate like pain or something.
Right. Well, I do think that bickering is never gonna go away.
I think it could, because I also feel like bickering is part of maybe their immaturity. And again, like, the reason they don't like each other is kind of down to the same issue of why they can't be frank with Toru right now. It's because they got their own issues about themselves that they need to deal with first before they can be real friends or can be honest about potential romance stuff. I feel like that's all coming from the same place in both of them. So I think it's definitely possible. I feel like I don't know. I would hope that they don't have to be like buddy buddies, but I would hope they would get past a place of tolerance and more to a place of like mutual respect. Because I feel like that's a sustainable friendship that actually would do them both some good and they'd get something like good out of it. But just tolerating somebody doesn't really make you any happier around them. And I would like them to be able to be happy with each other, like, when they are in the same place, because they both have really good qualities, as Toru's pointed out, and they can definitely use that from each other, but they're just not there yet. But I feel like, again, like, it's the self-work they have to do to be able to do that, the same as it is to be honest with Toru about how they feel, potentially. So I think it just is going to take time, but I honestly could see them getting to a place of mutual respect eventually if enough things were to change, and their opinions about themselves were to change enough.
See, but here's the thing. Do you, like... I agree with you. They need to fix themselves and learn to love themselves and deal with any internal baggage they have in order to fix the relationships they have with other people. Which means in order to fix their relationship, they need to fix themselves first. Mm-hmm. But at that same note, it's like, is it once we get to the point where they fix themselves, isn't that the end of the story though? Like,
not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because there's still going to be like, you know, other issues, like, I mean...
outside of them, yeah.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Akito in a while, or really, he hasn't been mentioned that much either, so, like, I think he's obviously, like, the greater evil, but, like, I think that, like, we could see that.
Yeah, because, again, like, that, maybe that's, like, one of the steps along the way to dealing with the whole Soma thing. It's like, they're able to deal with their stuff, and then they can help Toru better attack, like, the beast from head on and get to the source of everyone's thing. Because they're just a small piece of it in the grand scheme of things. So I think, yeah, I agree with April. I feel like there's enough left to tackle that's not specifically those two characters that is still, like, a big chunk of meat from the story, potentially.
Right. Okay. We'll see. We have so many episodes. We'll see. But yeah, one thing that I really like that's worth pointing out, when they fight in their animal forms.
Oh, that's so funny when they fight as animals.
Hilarious.
It's so silly.
The rats. Just the growing number of rats.
What does this mean? Because they're not just, like, hanging out around him. They're, like, into him. Yes. Like, they're ready. What does that mean? Why? Like, Kyo's not attracting all these horny lady cats. Like, why does Yuki have, like, a horde of rats around him?
Well,
maybe there's more of an abundance of rats in the
forest.
Yeah, than there are cats.
Because Jason the bear ate all the cats. That's probably why.
That's right.
Okay, well, one, Yuki wasn't Yuki didn't feel like uncomfortable with all the hugs and stuff he was getting from rats. So I don't know if it was romantic. I think it was more like, oh, we love you, our brother, kind of.
We're here for you.
But though I will say, I did get some major flashbacks to that Disney animated movie about King Arthur and the sword. You know,
the squirrel. Yeah, the squirrel lady. The squirrel lady's so sad. She didn't know he wasn't a real boy squirrel. She just wanted to further the squirrel race. It's not her fault.
It's not her fault. So, I mean, I did get that feeling, but also, you know, he's usually very, he's very, you know, like personal space, my personal bubble. So.
Yeah.
Maybe he was so mad he didn't realize they were all, like, clinging to him.
Yeah. They were just all growing. I was just like, where are the cats? There are probably some cats in this forest. Like,
maybe there was, like, a really big fence around the forest and they couldn't climb it, but they just really wanted to so they could also hug you.
Or maybe they were just, like, it was taking them a little bit longer to get there because they were further away.
And then he changed and they're like, oh, never mind.
They're like, just kidding, I'll go home now.
Oh, man. But yeah, I also really like nice little detail that they put in the fight. Well, at least in the makeup when they were explaining to Toru that she isn't the problem. When Kyo admits it, his back is turned to her, which is like an echo of that one episode where we had that big moment between her and Kyo where she tries to talk to him and he's like. Back towards her. So it kind of is interesting how Yuki's very open with Toru.
Yeah, he's honest right away.
Yeah, and like he's face to face. Like there is no, and I don't know, what does this say about where Yuki and Toru's relationship is versus Toru and Kyo's relationship? Whereas like Kyo is still, at least in terms of body language, he's still forcing this kind of wall between them. Whereas there doesn't seem to be this wall between Yuki and Toru. Like, what does this say to you? What does this mean? It doesn't mean anything.
I think it just kind of is indicative of how far away Kyo is from a lot of people and relationships, and that's just particular to... I mean, it is kind of interesting that Yuki's been locked up in a room and mentally tortured for years, but he's able to have a better relationship with Toru than Kyo. But I mean, like, maybe in its own way, being ostracized from this bad family, being a sad calf for so long, is also... hard to... I think it's just like we're meant to read Kyo as being like, you know, he's not quite ready yet for the
he's not quite ready for human interaction.
Yeah, which like arguably Yuki could be in the same place and we'd buy it, but for some reason he's more okay with that. Honestly, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's where it is, I guess.
Right. I mean, I'm just worried, like, I don't know, I'm worried that the Yuki moment passed where he and Toru kind of like bonded, and I'm like, but no, it's not enough.
No.
I'm just worried that's not enough. But I mean, granted, there's been more moments between him and Toru where he's like kind of, you know, like for instance, when the whole time after the whole Akito incident, Toru's been like, was immediately able to make him feel better.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, I guess, like, they've had more moments in that way. So I can understand them. And they've also known each other for longer. I know that,
they went to school for at least a year. Yeah.
Jeez. You know, so they are, I guess they're more familiar with each other. So maybe that's another thing. But moving on, the next bit it's the most everyone you guys mentioned it was kind of the most interesting thing is the whole like thing with Hattori, because while the whole kind of misunderstanding but then resolution between Kyo, Toru, resolution because we still don't know the things that we want them to talk about, they haven't talked about, that's going on with Kyo, Toru, and Yuki. Now we have like Hattori going through some stuff, so we learned that so Shigure supposedly decided to do this because he wanted to tease his editor. But we learned that it's also that the episode takes place on the day of Kana's wedding. And Hattori didn't want to go because he's scared that Kana will get flashbacks. So that's why he's here. So do we believe that Shigure like actually did this for Hattori? Or is it no, he just wanted to tease his editor and this was just like a happy coincidence? Or, like, where do you stand on that? Because I'm like, I don't know if I don't want to give this to Shigure. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Honestly, I do think he is being genuine. And the reason I say that is, like, Shigure does not have a lot of people in his life that he cares about. These two other men have been with him through his childhood. They are his closest friends. They are his family. So for him to make allowances for Hattori, and he brought all those books, like he does, and Hattori like gets it. He's like, oh yeah, I haven't read in a while. He probably knows that. Was this entirely a ploy to make me not think about my ex's wedding being today? Yeah, I think so. Like, I think Hattori's a pretty smart guy, and he's right on the money there. Right. The thing with Shigure is like, Shigure is able to do questionable and bad, gross things and also be a good friend. And I honestly, like, I'm okay giving that to Shigure because I think that makes him a much more interesting character. Because a lot of times people who do creepy, weird stuff are also very capable and do also do nice things to other people. So, I don't know. It makes sense to me. I do believe that, like, Hattori's very important to him. Right. And this wedding, and those guys never get married, and it just everyone in the family knows how it didn't work out, and I think in his own way, he's trying to get him to take his mind off it in a way that makes sense to Shigure at the same time of having bonuses of torturing his editor and getting the 3 kids to go hang out and bond again. Like, he can juggle his concern with his agenda.
He can juggle his concern.
Many things at once. He's not a dumb guy. So I totally believe it. But it also makes me give him shifty eyes at everything else he's doing. But I do think that part's at least genuine.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a combination of, like, you know, he's trying to do something nice for Hattori, but then at the same time, he gets to, like, torture his editor, and then, as, like, a bonus, he gets to further whatever his agenda is with, like, Yukikyo and Toru, so I think, like, probably the biggest part of it came from, like, I'm gonna try and give him the benefit of the doubt, because, like, if I was in that situation, I would want to, like, genuinely believe that, like, my friend is doing it for, like, my benefit versus, like, their own, but...
Yeah!
You know what I mean? Like it's such, like, a kind, like, gesture that it's hard for me to, like, discredit it, even though, like, I 100% believe that, like, he's, you know, like, also doing it to torture his editor and, you know, to further his other concerns.
Right. Okay, well then let's talk about this kind of moment, kind of a big deal, which is that Hattori's scared that Kana will get flashbacks. Is this hope for Momiji and his mom? Like, is this why Momiji's dad doesn't want Momiji to, like, talk to his mom that much?
I think for sure, or either he's afraid of that, or that Momiji might accidentally let something slip, and then she'd be like, well, that's weird, why you say that? Or maybe she'll just look at him long enough one day and be like, you sure look like you'd be my kid. You have the same face and the same hair. That's kind of weird. I don't know anyone else in the family that has blonde hair. They're all Japanese.
Well, you know, I mean, like, if she doesn't get flashbacks, like, if that's not, if that was, like, a certainty, then maybe, like, then it wouldn't be a big deal. But it's faulty, is basically what we learned, that it may be faulty, is, like, his memory trick.
Well, it's not, I don't know if it's faulty. I think it's, like, the difference between, so, like, he can go all the way and rewrite her memory with entirely new memories, which is probably a more firm foundation for a lie, you know?
Yeah.
But he went kind of halfway and just purely erased her memory without anything fake to cover it up. And so it's more likely to unravel because there's no counter to it that's false to reinforce a fake
that, like,
narrative.
Other people could, like, shatter the...
Exactly, because it's just nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, I think the other thing, too, is that, or like, that could potentially be important in that piece is because she was having such a hard time mentally with it. So, like, they probably, like, as part of the, like, cover-up story, were just like, hey, man, like, you haven't been doing well mentally, like, it makes sense that you don't remember the last 2 years or whatever of your life.
With your memory.
Yeah, so, like, that would, like, that's probably, like, a factor of it as well, so...
That's a good point. I was going to say, I also don't totally believe that Hattori doesn't want to go to the wedding because of the memory thing. I think he just doesn't want to admit to himself that it would just hurt a lot to see her wedding.
Yeah.
So he's just like, oh, no, she could remember. It's not good. I'm just doing this for her. Oh. But, like, I think a big part of it's also, like, I don't want to go to her wedding, man. Are you kidding me? It'd be the worst thing I could do with my time. I'm never going to get to marry her. And I still love her. This is a bad idea. I don't want to do it. So I think, like, that's half of it, too, honestly. He's just not saying that out loud.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's probably something else that, like Shigure and, like, Ayami are picking up, too.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, okay, like, you don't want to go because it might trigger memories. Like, what about, like, her wedding is going to trigger memories for her? And I think also that if it was, like, a big deal for him to see her, that they would have said something about it in terms of, like, Momiji, like, running around the hotel, like, and, like, seeing his mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. If it's that fragile,
Yeah. So, you guys mentioned Ayame. He makes an appearance. He makes an entrance. Quite the entrance. But what's really interesting to me is, like, that's all fun. Like, he was very funny this episode. great kind of humor to add to this like light thing that we call episode 15. But I was very interested in kind of him in the place where he thinks like Kana is in the wrong. He kind of is like, how dare she? How dare she move on while you're miserable? And it's like, girl, like she doesn't remember. Of course, yeah. Like, what do you mean? So I'm just wondering, like, what do you agree with IMA? Is Kana in the wrong for moving on, or do you agree that Hattori should give up Kana so easily? Like, you know, he kind of just was like, all right, well, like, where do you fall? Like, IMA like gave us so much stuff to talk about, but do you agree with him? Do you think like Kana was in the wrong, or like, and yeah.
I don't think that I don't think he's trying to like blame her or like put so much like negativity on her like that, but because I kind of took it as him like he's trying to cheer up his friend kind of thing, like and
he's on his friend's side.
Yeah, and he's definitely like on Hattori's side, but I don't think he's like against Kana. I think he's just trying to put it in like perspective, like, I mean, like, how dare she move on, you know, while you're just sitting here suffering, kind of like the reverse psychology kind of thing, like, you know, like, you could just continue to sit here and suffer, or you could move on, like, because it's obviously, like, not doing you any good to sit here and, like, dwell on it. And yeah, like her memories erased, so obviously she gets to move on, but you should get to move on too. So that's kind of more as like, I took it more of like a pep talk, not that he really had anything like mean behind it necessarily.
Gotcha. Michelle?
No, I agree. I mean, I guess I had assumed that Aya like meant what he said. But I do think he comes to the realization of, like, okay, like, I won't be mad at her for moving on, because, like, what's she gonna do? But you, like, when he says, like, I want you to be 2,000 times happier, I feel like that's at least a roundabout way of saying, like, you should be able to find your own happiness somewhere else if it can't be with her. And it's okay if relationships don't work out, but you shouldn't pin all your hopes and dreams on one relationship. You should be willing to go out and try again. And Shigure, like, subtly reinforces this in his own internal monologue. Like, he does believe that he wants his friend to find happiness, and he thinks his friend deserves it. And I think, yeah, it's funny, because, like, yeah, this was Hattori's first relationship, and he was, like, what, 22 when it started?
Yeah.
23, it lasted 2 years, which is not a long time. It was for him, this is his first one ever. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, he has so much life ahead of him. If he will let himself, you know, mingle with people and get to know other people and let himself love again, he absolutely can, like, a million more times before he's dead. And I think that's, like, if there is, like, a highlight to the episode, like, that's the highlight to take away from for him. It's like him maybe getting a little more close to, like, all right, this chapter of my life is really over now. She's married to someone else, so goodbye forever. But a new chapter could potentially open and unfold for me now, if I can be willing to accept it.
Right. Because that's the thing. Like, he doesn't seem very willing. Like, he goes like, oh, like, that's like so outrageous of like, that's such a small chance I will ever find love again, which is so dramatic. Cause
it's
again,
he's so dramatic. We forget that Hattori's very dramatic.
It's weird because Hattori is the rational one of the three, yet in terms of just the genuine emotion and rationalization, he is the most dramatic.
Yes.
Yeah. When it comes to his own feelings, he goes all out. But when it's anyone else, he's very logical.
He, like, needs to take it easy on himself.
Yeah, like it hasn't been that long. Like, honestly, like, give him, like, 5 more years, and I feel like maybe he's gonna feel a bit different about this than he does. Because, like, it's the day of the wedding. Of course, those anxieties are fresh. But, like, time will heal some of that wound. But I think he's just, like, it's too new to him, and it hasn't worked a lot in the family, so he does have reason to doubt it. But, like, it almost worked once. Like, who says the first time's always the right time, you know? Yeah. Just try again and be smarter about some things. Don't ask Akito for permission from.
Just go do it.
Just go do it.
Go to Vegas and just do it.
Go to Vegas and just do it. Okay, here's a question that just came to me. So, if the curse breaks and the Zodiacs are free, do you think that people are gonna get their memories back?
No.
Oh, I don't know, because it's a magic power, and if the magic goes away, maybe it undoes that.
No, it's like the magic spell is broken. And usually what happens when the magic spell is broken, everything like connected to it just falls apart. So
that would be so messy and devastating. Like, can you imagine? Like, well, and then, like, is it like one of those things where, like, do they, like, that would drive people crazy, because, like, imagine if it was, like, one of those situations where rather than, like, just leaving it, like, a blank part in their memory, like, they rewrote it, and then, like, they're, like, mixing up the, like, that would be, so many people would have to be checked into the hospital.
See, but here's the thing, I don't think that, because I don't think that he rewrote memories, though. Like, I don't think it was rewritten. If anything, it was just, he took away memories. I don't know if he rewrote them, though.
But the thing is, like, they become rewritten kind of by what you don't know happened. Like, the choices you make when you don't know you've made other choices totally shifts, like, your life journey. So then to, like, be like, I don't know, like 45, and like, yeah, I did a pretty good job. And then you get these memories back from, like, 2 years of your life that just changed everything. You're like, how do I go on with this new normal when I know it's based on all this stuff that were wiped from my mind? You know, like, I get it. Like, that's a lot. But I feel like that must be, like, if we hadn't found out in the Hatori episode from Akito that there is a curse that is breakable, and that kind of just put it. So, like, yeah, is the goal then that they would break the curse so none of them would be animals? And if that's true, why aren't they smuggling in people left and right to try to force them to break the curse already? Like, why is Toru just accidentally falling into this if it's a goal they would have had all along?
Well, see, here's the thing. I think Akito does it.
Effort.
Yeah, why are they making more of an effort to break the curse already?
See, here's the thing. I don't think Akito thinks Toru can break the curse. We think she can because we know how incredible she is. But, like,
I know that, but, like, why wouldn't they be trying for other people to break the curse by now? If they know that they need somebody, why aren't they trying to find that person?
Maybe they have a list, a set of requirements, and they think they're impossible, and they think that Toru doesn't meet them, but I don't know.
Okay.
There could be a million reasons. But I'm just saying, like, look, I'm looking out for my boy. I'm looking out for my bun. I'm looking out for my Fuji. I want the curse to break so that his mom remembers him, and then they can all be happily together.
I mean, she wasn't happy before, but then if the curse breaks and he's not bunny, I guess that would change things. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe, like, you know, like, the curse breaks, and then she's like, oh my god, I have a son. And then rushes to him, but then she goes, oh my god, and I tried to kill myself, and I rejected this boy. Runs to him, and then suddenly it's like, he hugs her and goes, look, I'm fine now. Like, you don't have to be sick
I kind of don't like that, though. It's like he had to get rid of his part of his identity for her to like it. What I hope happens is she, like, starts to get her memories back, and she's seeing him around. She's like, you know, there's something about that Momichi kid. Like, I can't put my finger on it. And she slowly it starts dawning on her that, like, there's something she doesn't know that's very important about him. And maybe she confronts him eventually, and he admits to her, and it's the fact that she was able to, like, bond with him without knowing that helps her bridge it and get to the point where she can then accept him as he is with his bunniness, because, like, he got to meet her halfway with her not knowing the whole story, and then she knows the whole... I don't know, but I kind of hope that if she found out, he would still kind of be able to be a bunny.
But isn't that the curse, though?
I don't know.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's a lot of curses. Because you can make the argument. You can make the argument that when she is, like, the whole, like, mother's, like, the whole, like, mother's being, like, rejecting or being overly protective, that could be part of the curse too. And when you break the curse, that goes away too.
What? How?
Okay.
This got really complicated.
Okay. So, the curse is like the Zodiac thing. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's multiple layers to this curse. So maybe one of the things is the memories. If you break the curse, memories get reinstated. Another element of the curse is how the mothers react to their babies, which is either being super overprotective or rejecting the baby entirely. Like they're pushed to feel this way because of the curse. You break the curse and suddenly they can just, be okay.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think they'd still remember that their baby did have the curse, even if it gets lifted. And then they'd be like, wow. Well, now the curse is gone, but was I a jerk to you?
Yeah.
What does that
mean?
It
doesn't change. I think they'll still think like, oh my God, I was horrible to you. I don't understand. Why was I so horrible to you? It's kind of that type of sentiment where it's not like they think, I don't think that they will feel guilt-free because they do, you still are rejecting your child. So I think they're definitely going to feel a sense of guilt because the trauma is not going to go away. Like, Momiji's like going through all that doesn't disappear. So I think they're definitely, so I think like if say curse breaks, she remembers her memories and she realizes, oh my God, I have a child and I rejected that child, which if I wasn't dealing with this curse, if Momiji wasn't cursed and that the curse wasn't swaying her emotions the way it did, she wouldn't have rejected him. So it's kind of like the curse is gone. I feel horrible. I am so sorry. Please accept me. Give me another chance. Kind of type of thing.
I don't know. Maybe we're giving the curse too much credit because, like, I feel like the appeal, not in a good way, but like the thing about the curse is like the curse is just literally turning people into animals. All this other crazy wackadoo stuff is just like the social expectations and perceptions of the family. And that's like what's interesting because like maybe you can't ever stop them from turning into animals. Then how do you fix any of this from being a hot mess? You have to take the Toru approach, right? You have to just like be able to make friends with other people and accept other people and have conversations and reflect on yourself and do all that tough like internal struggle through stuff and do the hard stuff because like if the moral of the story is get rid of the curse and everyone's fine now, that's not really what we've been presented. I think we gotta just match all the crazy social stuff first. And then, like, maybe the reward can be not being cursed with the animal stuff. But I feel like the animal stuff is just, like, the tip, and everything else grew over time into this hot cesspool of just wrongness, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you in that front. Like, I do agree. Like, the whole point is being able to accept people for who they are. But it's kind of like we're being presented this thing where like Toru is so special because she is the only one who can accept people for who they are. And it's like, that is...
Well, I said she's not the only one. I think Kana could. It's just that the family stuff was all against her, and what was she gonna do? I think, like, part of the issue is, like, there are people who can accept it and have been, but they're, like, one person, and they need a team. The thing that makes Toru different is she's building her team beside her, whether she knows it or not, and she's not going to have to fight this alone. I think that's the major difference. I think there are plenty of people capable of this, but doing this all yourself is impossible, and it leads to failure. But I don't think that's going to be the case for Toru. I think that's ultimately what makes her different. Like, I don't think she's not special in that she can withstand things others can't. She's special in that she gets people to help her instead of having to do it all alone. And that's, I think, how it's going to end up being okay, hopefully.
Okay, so by the end of this show, do you guys think... Okay, last episode, last scene. Toru hugs Yuki or Kyo, whoever it may be. Will they not turn into an animal?
Oh.
I
don't know.
I'm gonna say that they won't, but only because that's just, like, if I was 14 reading this, that's what I'd want. And I think that's the audience, so... That's built on logic. I just think they probably wouldn't turn into an animal.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, then, like, if they still turn it, like, at the very end of the series, they still turn into the animals, then, like, what was the point of everything?
They're happier and they're friends.
Well, I mean, yeah, but, like, why are we putting all this emphasis on, like, ooh, the curse, like, she's gonna break the curse,
well, that's why, because it's like a red herring. It's like you thought the curses would destroy your family, but really it was you being stupid to each other.
It was you being
You
a
could have been
butt.
happy a long time ago if you hadn't just blamed the curse on everything. I think that'd be a pretty appealing reveal. That's how it feels every time Akito does some crazy stuff to somebody. It's like, bro, you can blame it on the curse all you want, but we know it's you.
We know it's you.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It's like, it might just be like, the curse is just this horrendous treatment of this family. Like, the abuse is the curse versus the actual being able to turn into animals. I don't know. That's why I'm asking the question. But yeah, so that's basically what we learned from this. That's basically the episode. The last thing is just this kind of like big reveal we get. Well, at least big for me. Cause it was kind of like, it was like a little thing, which was that the homeroom teacher of Oru killed.
That's not a little thing, Beatriz.
Okay.
That's a big thing.
Thank you. Yeah. I thought it was just because I love Shiraki
She is so cool. And Shigure is not cool at all.
So we learned that she used to date him for she dated him for like a month. And she's friends.
She dumped his butt because he sucks.
And he doesn't even deserve like a minute of her presence. Like how, like why? Like he doesn't, like, I already am disgruntled by the dog that should be neutered. I'm already disgruntled. The fact that he also got to date her makes me even more mad. Cause now I'm like, oh no, like why?
I mean, it was only a month, and it seems like she left him, which is even
she dumped
better.
him.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she totally dumped him. She dumped him. She was like, no. She dumped him, but even then, it's like he still isn't worth her time. So I'm just like, you wasted so much of her time just by like even breathing in her presence. Like, how dare you?
Maybe dating him helps her like raise her standards a lot, though.
Yeah.
Maybe he was a good practice for her.
Okay. Do you think that we're gonna be because this?
So that's why I'm scared.
Yeah,
that's why I'm scared. If they're already thing and like this whole half of the episode was like, well, Hatori can move on and there's more fish in the sea and you deserve to be happy.
Her and Hana.
It's like, oh no, Shigure, no, don't you with that teacher? No thanks, no.
No,
but
I mean,
if everyone needs to have a happy ending, I'm a little scared that that's going to be his happy ending, and I just don't. I don't know about that.
I'd be happy with like if she were Hatori. If she ended up with Hatori, I'd be happy. I'd be like,
that would be awkward.
Absolutely. I think that'd be awkward as hell, but like, she's a tough cookie. She could probably handle how dramatic he'd get.
Yeah.
He'd be like, it's never gonna work. Akito's gonna take my other eyeball. She'd be like, stop that. We're going to Vegas. It's fine. Like, I feel like you have a plan for them. She's pretty capable.
Honestly, I would not be mad if, like, in the episode they face Akito, she just suddenly shows up and just puts him in his place and goes, there, let's go to Vegas, and just drags Hatori with her. Like, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even I am is fine. I'm like, you know what? I just, anyone but him. Anyone but Shigure, and I'm like, fine.
I love it.
But will we see more of her? Because they have made an emphasis of like I don't know. Are we gonna find out why she broke up with Shigure? Like, are we gonna get her backstory? It's like the show is very good at giving us characters and not just giving us random characters. They're always the characters they present to us always have a story. If they have a name, they have a purpose, basically.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Any guesses? Where she falls in this wide scheme of things?
I don't know.
Will she find out? Will she find out about the curse?
I mean, there's a reason we're coming back to her in this episode. I mean, obviously the show has plans for her. We just don't know how ridiculous they are yet.
Also, it would be super convenient and helpful if she found out about the curse, because, like, so many cursed people are, like, students at the school.
Yeah, school, in her classroom, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, it would just be very helpful, I think. So I would like her to find out, if only to help everyone else. So
Yeah. That it would be nice to have, like, an adult that's not a Soma know what's happening.
Also not cursed.
That's also not cursed, know what's happening. And just being like, I'm gonna be the adult here and, like, help you. It would be nice. But yeah, that does it for the episode. Again, not a lot happened. What are your, like, closing thoughts? What do you hope to, either whether that's, like, last thoughts on the episode or what you hope to see in the coming episodes?
I kind of hope we just go back to, like, the slice of life kind of stuff. 'Cause,
really?
Yeah. I don't know, like, this episode was just, I mean, even still after talking about it, it still, like, feels weird for me. And so, like, I don't know, something was off about this episode for me. So I'm kind of like, okay, like, let's do, like, crazy antics, like, let's be fun, let's meet another, like, Soma, that kind of stuff. So.
But isn't this the most slice of life episode there is? Because it's just the day where they go on vacation.
This is drama. They didn't even really do anything.
Old geezers. No offense to them.
Well, slice of life is not doing anything. It's just an ordinary day.
No,
this was ordinary.
I want, like, oh, we're getting ready for this festival. Like,
yeah.
oh
my God,
that's the festival. Not like, we're going to this lake house and we're just gonna sit there and watch Shigure, Hattori, and Ayami talk, and, like, they were, like,
that's
the majority of this episode. So I wanna go back to, like, our main three. Because, like, their whole, like, conflict of the episode was just, it was kind of resolved rather quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't completely resolved, but, like, in the moment, it was resolved quickly. So.
Right.
I have a lingering question. I know why Kyo didn't want to tell her how he felt, because he doesn't think he's worth it yet, basically. And he's scared, to be that honest. He hasn't done that before with anyone. But for Yuki to say that he didn't want to tell her because it's like a bad memory, why is it a bad memory? You help a kid find her mom and give her the hat? What? How is that bad? So obviously there's, like, a part of that story that's missing a big part. And, like, okay, if it's not him, then why does he remember it? And why is it not a good memory? Yeah. Like, that's what I'm wondering about. Like, that should have been a happy memory. Like, he did a nice thing, so why wasn't it a happy memory? It certainly was-ish for Toru, right?
Yeah.
She didn't think badly of that memory, so, like, what happened?
Have we, like, speculated before that, like, we think that maybe, like, she had her memory erased?
Yes!
That's why.
Yes, that was last
That's
one!
why, like,
yes,
okay. Like, I don't know why that feels like it was forever ago, but yeah, like, maybe that's why, like, maybe something happened, and, like, that's the only reason why he would think it is as a negative memory, and, like, she just has so many like positive thoughts about it.
Yeah. Right. No, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot.
We've got a lot going on right now.
Yeah. I know. I feel like maybe that's why this episode feels so weird, because there's so much going on, and we focus on, like, the most non-important thing. No offense to anybody, but, like, because they did plant the seed of, like, oh, she's getting married. But, like, you could have just left it at that, and then it's like, okay, goodbye. Like, we didn't need... And you're right. This episode, half of it was basically Ayame, Hattori, and Shigure in a table, sitting down, talking.
Just chatting it up. Like, that's why Like, if you're gonna... I mean, I would have rather given, like, all of that time to, like, Kyo, Yuki, and Toru in any kind of regard. Like, you could have leaned, like, more heavily towards one or the other, but, like, again, I thought the whole, like, Hattori thing with Kana was, like, wrapped up. Like, it seemed very, like, nicely packaged, and, like, that was the end of it. And then it's, like, them to just kind of bring it up, like, is a little bit jarring, almost. And that's probably why I also feel so weird about, like, this episode.
Right.
I guess I don't really mind that stuff, because I think, like, I like that it's, like, a lingering plot thread that isn't just being, like, close the door on it. Like, maybe they'll close the door on it now, but, like, I like that it's, like, you know, that's, like, a real weighty thing that's had legitimate consequences, because they've brought it up at least 3 times since that episode. And I like that it has that weight. It makes it feel, like more intense. But I think my thing is, it feels a little sad having so much time devoted to that, because we don't know when we're gonna get another heart-to-heart with those 3 about the love triangle. Like, that could be a while coming. And if, like, we got it in 2 episodes, I might look differently on this one. But because this is all we have now, it feels a little like, I wish they'd spent more time with that side of the story if we were given the option.
Do you guys think, because Hattori does mention how he wants to keep the trio from having to deal with having to make the same mistakes that he made.
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that, like, he's kind of, like, because Shigure is, like, planning something, and Hattori made it clear that he's wants nothing to do with whatever Shigure is planning. But, like, what does this mean? Does this mean that Hattori is going to take on a more active role in whether that means he's going to try and make his own plan, or do something, or is he going to work with Shigure? What does this mean for him? Like, why? Like, he does mention, like, he wants to stop them from suffering like he did, and in order for that to happen, he has to be active about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like I think Hattori, like, what he said to Shigure is basically like, look, like, I'm not gonna get in your way. Like, it's not my fight. But in his core, he's a good person. So I think it's just going to take something maybe more serious to come up for him to insert himself into the situation again. But I don't really doubt that he wouldn't try to help if they really needed it. He might, like, he's obviously keeping an eye out for them anyway. Right. And that's like, that's subtle, but that is kind of active in a way. I think maybe he wants to think that he won't get sucked into this, but, like, all that we've seen of him, he, like, deeply does care about these people. And he cares about Toru, too. So he probably is going to be more active if the situation goes bad. Like, I can't see him not checking in with them if something were to occur, or to confront Shigure again. So I think there's a difference between, like, what he said to Shigure and how he actually feels and how he's actually responding as it continues.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a good place to end the pod. I also wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for the comments last week. I loved the discussions that were happening.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I like
they were really great and lovely, and we appreciate every single one. So yeah, thank you so much. You can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. You can support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Caroline, aka Princess. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.